Sup? All right, guys, let's go. All right. Once again, you guys have two ways of going through this. You guys can do the packet first and then watch this video, which I would suggest is the best way to do this. Or if you're pinched for time over the weekend, don't really have more than an hour to really work on this, just watch this, do it with me. All right, let's freaking go. Okay, so here we go. The verb we're doing now, this is on the second page, the back of page of worksheet 24. All right, so pello, pellera, pepili, pulsus. All right, so this is a third conjugation verb. All right, so that's gonna have a couple things change because third conjugation is the most annoying. All right, that's gonna do some things that change some stem vowels, the imperatives or whatever. They're gonna have some little differences there, but it's not a big deal. Okay, let's walk through it. All right, we're doing a second plural masculine. Whoops, there was a spot for conjugation right there. So it's third, all right? Second plural masculine. That's important for us to know. But before we even get into the whole gender thing, we're just dealing with the fact that it's second plural. So second plural, present active, that's just gonna be pelletus, all right? Everybody okay with why this changed to an I? Is everybody okay with that? This changed to an I because it's a weak wimpy E, pellera. Jake Paul verb, weak wimpy, so that changed to an I. Remember, third conjugation is weird. If it's not a third conjugation verb, you don't have this kind of stuff to worry about, but that's what this is. All right, imperfect, you don't have to worry about it doing any of that weird stuff. Pelebatis, but here in the future, since it's future, third conjugation takes a certain set of future endings. Am, as, et. All right, so this one would be atis, second person plural. So let's do the passive over here. Pelemini. All right, pelebamini for the imperfect passive, and then pelemini for the future passive. Okay, sorry about the orb. I know that's frustrating. I can't really do anything about it. I literally can't do anything about it. Sorry, okay? No. All right, so now since we're dealing with the perfects, all right, the perfect active is always the third principal part. So we get our stem from that by knocking off the I with the macron. Second person plural is istis, pepel eratis, and then pepel eritis. All right? Once again, it doesn't matter that you guys have never had this verb. It doesn't matter. All verbs can be synopsized the same way. You do the same thing for every single one. All right, but now that we are in the passive column, we're doing what we've done this chapter, this section, all right? We're using that fourth principal part. Now, I asked you guys to do a second person plural masculine. So the plural masculine ending for all of these verbs is going to need to be I with the macron, pepuli. So this is the correct form of the perfect passive participle, masculine plural. And then we just choose the correct version of sum to go with it. Estis, eratis, and eritis. Got the present of sum there, imperfect of sum for the pluperfect, and then the future of sum for the future perfect. All right? That's how it goes every time for every verb. All right? Imperatives, you just take that re off the infinitive. Whoops. Pella for the singular, but once again, because it's third conjugation, that weak wimpy E becomes an I when you add the TE onto it in the plural, pelleta. All right, infinitives, I've really only got the two present infinitives here because I had to fit a bunch of synopses on these charts when I was using these charts before. Man, that orb is very annoying. I'm so sorry about that. This is what the answers are for those ones, if you couldn't see them. Can you see them now? If you wanted to write that down. Can't do anything about that orb. It's a bum in my tum-tum. All right? So, the infinitives that are here are just the pellera. And then here, since it's third, you would knock the whole ERE off. Weak would be ERE, peli. All right? But let me go ahead and just tell you what the, you don't have to write these down, but this is, of course, going to be on your test on Monday. The perfect active, you would take the third principal part, pepuli, and you would do pepulissa. Perfect passive, you just use this correct form of the perfect passive participle, pepuli, and then you would just add essa. And then the perfect, the future active infinitive, pepoler. You'd add the Pepoluri. All right, so pepoli with the added before the ending, and then you just put essa right there. Okay, so those are the ones that I taught you. All right. So there's obviously one more on this, and I don't want to make the video super long, so I'm just going to say what those are. Okay, I'm not going to take the time to write them out. I'm just going to say what they should be. All right, so let me go down and do that really quick. All right, so eubeo, you guys have had. Eubeo, eubeira, usi, usus. So eubeira is second conjugation, and I wanted it in the first plural feminine. So here are your answers. You guys can check your work, or you can pause it, do this really quick, and then watch this and see if you got the answers right. Okay, so pause, and now watch. Okay, so here we go. This should be eubemus, eubebamus, eubebimus. Then for the passive, it should be eubemer, eubebomber, eubebimmer. Because it's second conjugation, it can take the bo bis bit, bimus, bitis bot. Okay? Now we're into the perfect active. It should be the third principal part, eusi, with the I with the macron knocked off. So eusimus, eusiramus, eusirimus. All right, now we're using our fourth principal parts, which comes from usus, but I wanted it in the plural feminine, so it should be spelled like this. I'll write this one out, because this is new stuff. Plural feminine would have AE as its ending, usai. Okay? So, usai sumus, usai eramus, usai erimus. All right? Then we can do our imperatives the same way. Eube, eubeta, eubeira, eubeiri, and then I'm just going to point to where they would go. I know that they're not there on your sheet, but the perfect active infinitive would be from that third principal part, and it would be eusissa, and then the perfect passive would be eusai essa. You're just using that correct principal part, fourth principal part with the plural feminine, so it'd be eusai essa, and then for the future active infinitive would be eusurai essa. All right, so now let's go to the next sheet. All right, worksheet 25. All right, and these are ways for you guys to practice figuring out how to translate and form certain perfect passive verbs, whether they be perfect passive, pluperfect passive, or future perfect passive, forming those into the Latin because of what I've given you here on the English. I forget what genders I told you guys to do. I forget which genders I told you guys to do. Whatever you did, whatever genders I told you to do, that's great. You can check your work on what I told you to do. I unfortunately forgot what they were, so I'm going to do whatever gender I can think of. So sorry about that. Okay, so here we go. Number 2, I'm pretty sure all of us already did this one, but I'm just going to do it anyways. I'm going to finish writing the principal parts out. Duxi, ductum, those are the principal parts. Duco, ducera, duxi, ductum. All right, and then the verb that we have here is they have been led. All right, have been or has been, any of those soft have or has H helping verbs, those are perfect. So this is they have been, perfect passive, led. They is third plural, all right, perfect passive, all right. Now I know that I've got to use the fourth principal part for anything that's in the perfect passive. So ductum is what I'll go ahead and put here, but I know that this is plural. Is singular, so I've got to change this, all right? I've got to change this to something. I'm just going to do the masculine plural, so I'm going to do ducti. If it was feminine plural, it'd be ducti, all right? They have been led. And since it's perfect passive, that means it's going to use the present of sum. Third person plural present of sum is sunt. So that's your answer. Number 3, copio, copera, capi, coptum. Those are the other principal parts, capi, coptum. And so what we're going to have to do here is look at the sentence that's given to us. You, talking about one person singular, will have been captured. So I look at that and I'm saying, oh, will have been, will have. That's future perfect. So you singular, of course, is second singular. Future perfect passive. All right, so I need that fourth principal part. You singular, let's go ahead and do this one in the feminine. So I'll imagine that you, the person he's pointing at, is a feminine person. So I'd have to change coptum from having this neuter singular ending to having a feminine singular ending, which would be copta. All right? And then will have been, you singular will have been, that's second person singular future. Perfect. So I've got to use the future. So you will have been captured. All right? Scribo, scribera, scripsi, scriptum. Those are the other principal parts for this verb. All right? The word for book is masculine. So you don't have to put the word for book in there. You don't have to translate that into Latin if you don't want to. I was just trying to give you a masculine noun. The book has been written. Once again, has is one of those soft H helping verbs. So that's perfect passive. Has been. So I need my fourth principal part here. All right, scriptum. But once again, the word for book is masculine. So this verb cannot be neuter. This verb has to also reflect the masculine. So it'd be scriptus. The book has been written. And it would just be est for the perfect passive. You use the present of sum for the perfect passive. All right, the word for law is feminine. So now we have feminine, and it's the laws. So it's going to end up being feminine plural. But we have a different helping verb here. We have had. That's not one of the soft ones. That's not have or has. That's the hard had. All right, so this is the pluperfect. Pluperfect always translates had. So this is pluperfect passive. My other principal parts are legi, lectum. All right, I need lectum here. So let's go ahead and write that down. Lectum. But I know that it's feminine plural. Laws is plural and it's feminine. So that can't end in that needs to end in I, lecti. All right, and once again, the pluperfect passive always uses the form of the imperfect form of sum. So this is going to be lecti errant. The laws, the laws had been read. All right, you plural. So I know that this is going to be second person plural. You plural have been pushed. Once again, have or has is the perfect passive. So the principal parts are funny here. Papuli, pulsum. All right. Once again, I need my fourth principal part for anything that's in the perfect passive. So let's go ahead and write that down here. Pulsum. All right. You, if you're talking to a person, that person's not going to be neuter. So I'd just make sure to choose a masculine or feminine one. If it was talking to a dude, you would say pulsus. But if it was talking to a girl, you would say pulsa. You have been pushed. So that would just be S. Pulsus or pulsa S. All right. I will have been trusted. I will have been trusted. So I is first person singular. Once again, a person talking could be masculine or feminine. I forget which one I told you guys to do. So masculine or feminine is fine here. The principal parts are credo, credita, credo, credera, credidi, and then creditum. All right, we once again need the fourth one. So creditum can't stay neuter. It would probably be masculine or feminine. So let's just write both those options up there, creditus or credita. And then I will have been. That's future perfect passive, will have been. So this needs to be ero, creditus or credita ero. The words. Now this word, the word for words is neuter. So this is going to be neuter, and we can tell it's plural. Neuter, plural. All right, the words have, soft, have been said. All right, so dico, dicera, dixi, dictum. All right, you need that fourth principal part. But that fourth principal part is neuter singular. The neuter plural is a. E, o, o. A, orum, is, a, e. So nominative plural ending is a. Dicta. And the words they, sunt. They have been said, third plural. All right. The girl is feminine, obviously singular, so that's going to be she. So that's third person singular. But once again, we've got that hard had been sent. So the girl had been sent. So that will be mito, mitera, misi, missum. All right, but we've got to change that fourth principal part to be feminine with the subject noun. So it'll be missa, had. That's pluperfect, so we need the imperfect of sum, erat. Had been sent. This verb right here goes kogo, kogara, koegi, coactum. All right, that means to force. We have been forced. So we, once again, can be masculine or feminine. All right, it could be a group of people that are all girls or all boys. All right, So we need that fourth principal part, but it can't end in anymore. It has to end in I with a macron or AE. Group of dudes, coac D. Group of girls, coac die. All right? Have been. So that's just the perfect sunt. All right? So that's a good exercise. All right? I hope my computer doesn't die while I'm doing this, because that would be bum bum in my tum tum. All right? So here we go. Let me erase that. Don't have an editor, so you're going to watch me erase this. If you want to be my editor, send your applications to my LinkedIn profile, and I'll filter through those by 2029. All right, so here we go. Scrolling down now. All right. These are just making sure that you form the correct perfect passive, pluperfect passive, future perfect passive, and then you translate them correctly. All right, so this is the verb that we're dealing with first. Accipio, accipere, accapi, acceptum. All right, so I've told you to do this one in the third plural, neuter. So that's why I've given you the example accepta. Accepta going with the perfect passive, you use sunt. They have been received, or they have been accepted. All right, but if I want to make it pluperfect, it would be accepta erant. And if I wanted to make it future perfect, it would be accepta erant. All right? Accepta erant uses the hard had. So they had been received. And then the future perfect, of course, does the future perfect. They will have been received. They will have been received. All right? Do the same one for this verb. You guys haven't even had this verb. Doesn't matter. All right, I want you to do this one in the first plural feminine. All right? So, the perfect passive, you're going to take that fourth principal part, deposit, but you can't have that ending on there. All right, you got to have a plural feminine ending. So, it'd be depositai, and then you'd use, first plural. Depositai, oh, I was right, sumus. Depositai sumus. Then you'd have depositai eramus. And then you'd have depositai erimus. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. Then to translate these, you'd have we have been put away. We had been put away. And then we will have been put away. All right? Have or has in the perfect, had in the pluperfect, will have in the future perfect. All right? And that is that. All right? And then we've got some more of these on the back. All right? Make sure, if you haven't yet, make sure that you're pausing some of these exercises to try and do it yourself so that you can check your work when I'm about to say it. Okay, so pause it right now if you haven't done these. Try and do them yourself and then play it again once you've done it, okay? So, second singular masculine is what we're doing now. So we can actually leave these looking like that. All right, that is the singular masculine ending that I provided for you there. All right? You don't have to change that at all. All right? You just have to make sure you put the correct version of sum. Second singular, that would be S for the perfect passive, eros for the pluperfect, and eris for the future perfect. All right, now I'm just going to say these just to speed up the process. You have been met. You had been met. You will have been met. And then this verb, I wanted you guys to do this in the third singular neuter. All right, so that needs to change from us to All right, but third singular, so I need those versions of sum. Est, erat, and erit. So, third singular, it. All right, neuter, it. It has been sung. It had been sung. It will have been sung. All right? Bangarang. Okay? So we're cooking with all now, mate. You guys are doing it, dude. Oh my gosh. All right, make sure, by the way, that you don't forget how to translate other tenses. All right, don't forget how to translate the present or the imperfect or the future, active, passive, whatever, okay? Because that's obviously something you can't forget, okay? I guess we have one more of these. Sorry, I forgot we had one more. Pause it if you haven't done it yet, okay? Do it yourself. All right, so here we go. Second plural feminine, benedictus needs to change to benedicti. So benedicti will go in all of these spots. Benedicti, A-E at the end. And then since it's second plural, it'll be benedicti estis, benedicti eratis, benedicti eritis. And then it will be you, or y'all, second person plural, talking to a group of women. Y'all have been blessed. Y'all had been blessed. Y'all will have been blessed. All right? Cool. Super, super cool. Scooby-Dooby-Dooby. All right? So, what I had you guys doing here was translating these sentences the way that they're given to you. But then I wanted you to change the voice. So I wanted you to translate them with what they've been given to you. So let me go ahead and do that first. And then I wanted you to write the same sentence, but I wanted you to write it in the other voice. So this is extremely, extremely on the higher level of difficulty compared to anything I'm going to give you on the test. This is just forcing you to go through other bits of grammar in your mind and forcing you to really prove that you know different forms of the verbs. I will not, say it with me, I will not be giving you anything like this on the test. Ragucci? All the other stuff, you need to know how to do all the other stuff exactly like that, but this is way more difficult, okay? Obviously translating will be on your test, but switching voice and all that, I'm not gonna be doing that, okay? So this is the sentence, all right? Nostra mater, that means our mother, all right? Our mother, this is a weird verb. Y'all have not had this verb. Don't worry about it, okay? It literally means to sing, like wrote, composed. That's what it really means. To sing, create, make. All right, so our mother made, it's perfect active, because it's that third principal part of the verb, made a beautiful song, a bellum carmen. And yeah, bella is a word that means beautiful, and this is, of course, the ending going with Carmen. I'm realizing right now that y'all have so many of these words up here on this exercise that I have not ever given you before. So please ignore everything I just did on number one. Don't try to do number one on your own because y'all haven't had enough of those words, and I'm so sorry. Okay, let's go to number two. All right, canis, that means dog. It's okay if you don't know what that is. But magnus canis means big dog, big dog. All right, and then visus erat. All right. So visus erat comes from video, videra, vidi, visum. So this is, of course, the perfect passive participle going with dog, because dog is masculine. So that's why it has that masculine singular ending. And then you can see that it's going with erat. So you guys know that when the fourth principal part of a verb is with erat, you know it's pluperfect. So we have to translate had. So the big dog had been seen, all right, because that's the verb to see. So the big dog had been seen a nobis. That would mean by us, all right? Now, here we go. This one's not too difficult. We just got 3 words in there. That verb means exactly what it looks like, okay? Studentes, what do you think that means? It means students, okay? The students composed sentences, all right? So that's what this is. The student composed sentences. All right. So let's go back to number 2. Let's just forget number 1 because there's a lot of vocab in there that you've never had. Don't worry about doing number 1. Okay. Geez, I'm sorry. All right. If the passive version of the sentence is what we translated, the big dog had been seen by us. Let's flip it around. The way that it would sound in English is we had seen, active. We had seen a big dog. All right, so that's the new version of the sentence. We had seen a big dog. That's the active. We had seen a big dog. Passive would be a big dog had been seen by us. So now we've got an actual direct object in this sentence. All right, we had seen a big dog. So big dog is the direct object. That means that we can't have those endings on it anymore. you would end up having canem magnum, because now it's accusative. A big dog, all right? Now we need to do we had seen, which would be we deramus. Because I took the third principal part, wideo, widera, weedi, knocked off the I with the macron, and I put the first person plural, we, pluperfect, ending on there. We deramus. All right? So, students composed sentences. Now we needed to say the sentences have been composed by the students. That would be the other way to say the sentence. The sentences have been composed by the students. All right, so that's the sentence now. So sententias just needs to become the subject. Sententii, now it's nominative plural. The sentences by the students would need to be a studentibus. Whoops. Studentibus. Now it's ablative, not nominative anymore because it's an ablative of agent. By the students. Sentences by the students. Now we need it to be have been composed. Have been composed is perfect passive. So we need the fourth principal part of composuerunt, which is compositum. All right. Students is masculine, so it needs to be compositi. And then the version of sum needs to be sunt. They. The sentences have been composed. Compositi sunt. The sentences have been composed by the students. All right? Sick. All right? Now, this is something I'm not going to go over fully. This is just something for you to practice. And if you want to come see me on Monday before that, this is just synopsis practice. If you want to come see me about worksheet 26, I'd be happy to walk you through what you did. I will grade your synopses right in front of you. I will talk to you however much you want to be talked to about those synopses, but please make sure that you give worksheet 26 a shot, because your ability to do this and understand these forms of the verbs is 90% of your exam on Monday. Let me pray for you really quick, because you guys have a lot going on. That was a lot to just kind of hit you with. So I'm going to pray for you. Jesus, be with my students. You've given them what they need to be able to do what they need to do. You're a good father and a good friend, and you are not going to give them more than they're capable of doing. You're not going to give me more than I'm capable of doing either. So help me to believe that and all the things I have going on as well. I just thank you for these students. I thank you for their hard work. I thank you for Latin and the way that it's brought us together just to relate and just learn more about our minds and our work and our thoughts and the way we feel about all those things. So we love you, and we give this to you. We give the exam to you, all our studying to you for your glory. It's all because of you, and it's all for you. In your precious name, amen. All right, you guys, good luck. Email me if you need some help. You're awesome.